face, huh? I think I got a real snuggle-gobster.
I can't believe you've done this.
Welcome back
Hey.
to Occam's Blazer.
What's going on, all our wonderful and beautiful listeners
Beautiful behind those
behind those headphones?
behind those headphones and that YouTube channel. I bet you have a beautiful face.
Anyways, my name is Vince Tato,
And I'm Jim Groby.
and here we are at our second podcast that we're probably going to release.
Probably. We
Yeah.
recorded one in between, but it was just kind of messy.
Shout out to University of Albany for having bad equipment.
It wasn't that bad. It's just that we weren't used to it.
Yeah,
It's-
the studio felt like a church basement.
It did. You and I growing up in churchy backgrounds,
Yeah.
it was the walls, the size of it, the kind of chairs, everything was like, it was weird.
Yeah. Anyways, to start this episode off, before we get into our really serious
really
somber
serious.
topic, I have some words.
Oh, what?
Yeah, we're gonna play this. Remember,
Oh, yeah.
I talked about this. So, old-timey phrases, and again,
All right, so what do I have to do?
Again, I am cursed with the rickety chair.
What do I have to do with these phrases?
Okay, so this is a phrase, and out of context, naturally, and you're gonna try to guess how this phrase would be used.
Okay.
You gotta try to use it in your own phrase.
Okay.
So, first one is, I'm gonna try not to laugh by saying this. By Saint Booger and all the saints of the backside door of purgatory.
I have to repeat that?
Yeah, you gotta use it in a phrase.
Wait. Can I see your phone, or am I not allowed to look at
No,
your
then
phone? Do I have to
it'll
memorize
It'll
that?
give it away. Well, I'll just repeat it.
Okay.
By Saint Booger
By Saint Booger
and all the saints in the backside door of purgatory.
and all the saints in the backside door of purgatory. All right, I'm just hearkening back to when I used to have to memorize lines for things. I used to be an actor, guys. No. By Saint Booger
Mm-hmm.
and all the priests,
All the saints.
all the
of-
saints in the back door of purgatory?
Yeah, something like that.
Wait, what is that exactly?
Yeah, it's backside door.
Backside door. Okay.
When would this phrase be used?
Well, to me it sounds like an expletive, like you expleet. And so basically, oh my, all right. So, Father McDonald is walking down this door, walking to the store, and a little kid runs up to him and.
During this segment, Vince Tato and I begin laughing uncontrollably. We apologize for any inconvenience.
I don't even know what I'm gonna say.
I know what you're going to say.
I don't think this will be funny for our listeners. All right, let me start over. All right. By Saint Booger and all the backdoor saints in the back door of purgatory. Does that count?
Yes, it is an explicative.
All right. I let's say I've passed that one, because
Yeah, you passed.
We're done.
If my phone will scroll.
what else we got?
We got I'm knackered.
Boy, I just had 3 gin and tonics and I'm knackered.
That could work. It means exhausted.
Oh.
I'm very knackered after the hike.
To me, it sounds like a drunk sort of a thing. Man, let's just go out and get
All right.
knackered, dude.
Don't get shirty with me.
Wait, you're already using these in a phrase.
Yeah, this is a phrase.
So I feel like it would be harder for me to use the words without knowing because I can infer from "don't get shirty with me" that it's like don't get short with me.
Okay, yeah, that's
Use
true.
just the word.
Okay, what about this? Wind your neck in.
Wind your neck in. Man, I'm picturing like Vince and I are sitting on the steps, and he sees a curvy lady, and I say, "Vince, wind your neck in."
Okay, that was a good attempt. However,
Thank
it
you. What does it mean?
means the same thing as don't get shirty with me. It means someone's getting aggressive and you're getting irritated with them, and you say, "Wind your neck in. Don't get shirty with me. Don't get your knickers in a twist.
Keep your shirt on.
You're getting on my goat.
Oh, that's
Wind
weird.
your neck in."
They all mean the same thing?
Yeah.
All right, this is lame.
All right. I was gobsmacked.
I've heard of that one. I feel like it just means amazed.
It means shocked.
Shocked. Yeah.
Yes.
Skip that one. You got to pick harder ones, buddy.
I gotta pick harder ones.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have them. Oh, here's some more. Snollygobster.
Now, that is a good one. Oh, boy. Joe Biden, he's a real snollygobster.
Hang on. The definition is, this is something many people already call politicians. Very good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it refers to a politician who does or says things for their own personal advantage.
What a snollygobster.
Yes. The definition for this one is a little cut off on my phone, but nudist. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, so
Okay.
someone correct me. But it is nudist surtrain. Nudist surtrain.
How do you spell it?
NUDIUSTERTIAN. Nudist surtian. Yeah.
I don't know.
Nudist suturian.
Hey, Jack, give me a nudicitarian on the rocks.
That's a good one.
What does it mean?
Let me see. I don't know if my phone cut it off. It's convoluted to say, but it sure is an interesting sounding word. That's all this has to say. This word is sure to confuse, and then my phone cuts it off, so I don't have the full definition.
All right. I'd say that was a good first take of, what do you want to call that game?
Words that are kind of lame. No. Underused words that you should add to your repertoire of cuss words that you can use in church.
That sounds so lame, bro. You got to think of a snappy title for it, like
A snappy title.
Vince's words.
Words of the day. Cuss words you can use in church. Don't give me that flap doodle.
What about church cuss?
Church cuss. Church cuss.
Church cuss.
Church cuss.
Church cuss.
Church cuss.
All right. That's a strain of weed.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
That's never mind.
All right. So here we are. I think we're ready to go into our main segment. What do you think? What do you think, Vince?
I think we're ready to go in the next segment.
All right, let's do this, y'all.
Secret of a happy marriage. Maybe you should write this down. You want to keep a love together. The best way is to end it now.
Should I have used a different song?
I thought you were going to use the other song that I suggested.
Oh, well, didn't we do two last time?
Oh, yeah.
We did one for the...
Never mind. Yeah, that song can be the outro.
Sir, how dare you?
I'm sorry.
How dare you challenge me?
I know, you're the producer.
Come on. Jeez.
Oh, speaking of being producer, I forgot to mention, I want to shout out to my friend Jack's podcast that I was on called Yahoo Answers Yahoos. Go check it out.
On...
Well, considering I just got done editing it today, it's not really on anything. But I'm
Go check it out on my laptop.
yeah, come on over. No,
Dude.
he's actually recording one
How
today.
desperate are you?
Well,
If there's any girls out there, you want to come over and check out my friend's podcast? I'm sorry.
we can talk about that off mic.
All right. Anyways, what were you saying?
Yeah, it's a podcast called Yahoo Answers Yahoos, where he goes through some of the weird Yahoo forums and tries to answer their questions. And I was the first guest.
Is his name Yahoo?
No, his name's Jack, actually.
So why would it be called Yahoo Answers Yahoos?
Because, you're a bunch of Yahoos,
Is that another church cuss?
I guess.
All right.
Anyways.
All right. So our topic of today is simple, but could be controversial. Ooh.
My favorite.
I love controversial topics. It is the question, is mental health overblown these days? Oh my gosh.
Do you want to read all those questions I had written down?
What? Okay, yes, I do want to read those questions that you had written down. But put another way, is the okay, put it another way. Let me read some of these questions. It's these aren't questions.
Okay, there's their exclamatory
Okay.
statement.
Here's what Vince wrote when we were trying to prep for this episode. What's the deal with the increased focus on mental health? Is it a fad? Are actual cases of poor mental health becoming minimized because everyone claims to have some problem, or is it all serious? Has it always been an issue, or are we just more aware of it?
That's
So-
exactly what I sound like.
Mental health.
So I just want to preface
Preface.
this episode by saying, yes, mental health is a problem.
Yes.
People struggle from it.
Yes.
I'm speaking for myself. I don't know about you. I've had bouts with depression or anxiety.
Mhm.
I don't have chronic depression or anxiety,
Mhm.
so I feel for the people out there who do.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that, oh, you're just making it all up and you just, just don't be so sad and it's all good. No, it's
Right.
it's real. It exists.
Right.
I'm sorry. Get some help.
Mhm.
But today we're just going to talk about something I think about a lot, where I look around and it's just like, especially on a college campus, it's just like everyone's got some problem in their brain and they're like, oh, my depression and my anxiety. And it's like, it's basically like they bring it up in the first 5 minutes of you talking to them.
Mhm.
They're like, well, I have anxiety, so blah, 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 blah. I
Right.
can't XYZ.
Right.
Or I'm depressed, so I laid in bed for 5 hours.
Mhm.
So I hear that and I'm just kind of like, okay,
What's the deal?
let's look at this logically.
Yeah.
Use logic, reason, emotion.
Okay.
The three
Three
prongs of this podcast.
three pillars of our podcast.
Yes. So logically, okay, you have a problem. You are on a college campus.
Mhm.
There are services which are free and anonymous. You can be anonymous as far as I know. And these services are free and blah 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 blah. You can, I don't know why I just said that, but you can go to these services and you can receive help.
Right.
So that's logically, reasonably, emotionally. Maybe just you do like being sad. I know sometimes in my life I've really liked being sad.
Mhm.
It's like go weep in the shower and listen to sad music. It's like, that feels good. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I can't say that I have
I've
but-
never weeped in the shower.
wept.
I've never wept in the shower. However, I do really like sad music. And sometimes when I'm sad music is just appropriate, or doing sad things. Or, eating a pint of ice cream with your dog while watching Nacho Libre after a girl stops talking to you.
Big
Ask
oof.
me how I know.
A good movie.
Indeed.
Nacho Libre.
So
Shout
all
out.
that rabble to say, people with mental health, we
Suck.
we suck. No, people with mental health concerns, problems. It's legitimate. It's real.
Yes.
Get some help. We're not here to bash you, but we're here to look at the overarching things in society that
Okay.
makes me scratch my head.
I agree with that. So let's start out just talking with some experience to start out where we're coming from. Some stories, whether personal or not, or maybe if you want to share an anonymous story of a friend of yours or something, of like some real struggles with mental health and how that person dealt with it, if they sort of, got help, didn't get help, that sort of thing.
Do you wanna start?
Sure. So I'll start. I had a friend that is a close work classmate of mine. We did a lot of stuff together, and a very solid guy. I always felt that he was like reliable, dependable. Like you could always depend on him. Very loyal and very smart. He would always, along with me, be the one in class to just always answer the questions, and he was always on time and had it all together is the point. But I found out over time that he was struggling very seriously with depression, and he would have trouble motivating himself to even get out of bed, and that he would have thoughts like, man, do I want to live another year? And that for me was like, whoa. It's crazy to realize that I can see someone and I can perceive them as just so put together, interesting, smart, dependable, solid, but they can be just falling apart. He eventually got some care, actually, mental health care, and
that's good. Is he doing all right
and
now?
he's doing great.
Wow, that's good.
I still sometimes hang with him, and yeah, basically, I don't know. The point is, yeah, there's more to the story, but I don't want to share too much other sort of identifying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the lesson that I take from that is like, man, sometimes you're just absolutely shocked by someone struggling with mental health because it's inside of their mind. It's not like a physical ailment where, man, I broke an arm, I've got a cast, right? But the thing about it is, if we say that we should treat mental health the same as physical ailments, then that sort of implies that we should have a mental health cast that's visible. You know?
That's interesting.
So it's like
Mental health cast.
that you should have, like, that you should present so that people know that you have a mental health problem.
Mm-hmm. I think that is interesting, but also in society, a lot of people don't take it seriously, and for two reasons, I feel. For one, people just totally disregard the fact that mental ailments exist, and for the other reason, people just minimize it, and they're like, "Oh,
It's fake.
You're making this up,"
Mm-hmm.
or
It's all in your head.
it's all in your head, or
Right.
just do this and drink this, vinegar drink, and you'll be okay.
Whoa.
So people just use it as an excuse, and it just, again, the minimizing
Right.
the actual cases.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share a personal story.
Okay, yeah. You share a personal story because
because this is about me, so
okay.
I don't have to make this anonymous about someone else.
Mm-hmm.
This is about last semester.
Mm-hmm.
I was considering going for my master's in public administration.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the program. I was accepted into the combined BA MPA. I was going to get my master's degree done in a year and a half. I was going to skip the GRE, go right into my master's. I was really excited. I was like, yeah, I avoided the SAT. I avoided the GRE. I'm going to get my master's. I'm going to be able to take all these grad courses during my undergrad. It's going to be great.
Badass.
Exactly. And everyone told me, like, the MPA program, and if you want to do anything in government work, that's the program you want to do. It's so good. Government work, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm a political science major. I want to have, like, a federal state job. Yeah, this is going to be really good for me. So I'm in the class, and just everyone is really excited about, at least from my perspective, government, nonprofits, yay! Like, my professor was really into nonprofits. He was one of those weird people that was like, she refused to drive a car because she wanted to support the city transit system.
That's pretty legit.
Yeah. And so, all this to say,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, it was a little weird, though.
What's weird about wanting to use public transit?
Have you ever been on the
Yeah.
downtown Albany buses?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to depend on it. If I had the option to have a car,
She's making a sacrifice. But anyways,
yeah, it's a
forget it.
sentiment.
Yeah. It's
Um,
kind of, yeah.
So, I was surrounded by people that were telling me, this is what you should do, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And deep within me, I just hated it
Mhm.
deeply.
Sure.
And that caused a lot of internal strife, and I was going through some relational things at the time, and spiritual and emotional, and just education was really getting to me, and I was like, oh, is this even worth it? I remember we were driving in the car together, going on a road trip, and I was doing some homework,
Yeah.
and I just closed my laptop, and I was like, I looked at you, and I was like, Shem, is this, tell me why what I'm doing is worth this, all this headache and this struggle. And you're like, well, maybe someday you'll help someone. And I'm like, you know what, if I have to go through pain and suffering and total unenjoyment just to help some random stranger that I don't even know, then it's not for me.
Nice.
which is a horrible thing to say. But
No,
all that to say,
it's honest.
it is honest. So I came to a point where I just couldn't take this anymore, and I was just like, I am depressed about this. This is very depressing for me, and it's causing sadness. And yeah, I was not in a good spot at the time. I remember feeling purposeless and just upset, mad at the world, lonely. So I totally get, you know, I try to present a professional type of manner in the classroom, but I just for this class I totally gave up. I was in a professional internship at the time, so I had to look. I was in like collared shirts all the time, and I guess I looked, professional button-up shirt dude, but I just was like, I hate this so much, and everyone told me I should enjoy this, but I just really didn't. So I dropped out of that program. And yeah, I'm doing better mentally, physically, spiritually,
dude,
and all the above.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you told me that you were like, man, I'm done with this. And I was like, okay, nice.
So that
Go
story
you.
was my
Go
I guess my
you.
mental health was
That's your story
contingent
with it.
on me being in this program.
Right. Well, I think what we can learn from that is that, like, the program, that part of your life was sort of a weight on your mental health bar, like your little sort of bar of like how much you can withstand. You were
Right.
sort of pushed to the max.
Mm-hmm.
Like you only had a few little bars of stamina left
Mm-hmm.
in your mental health bar.
Right. And I actually just came out of a summer internship
That was
just bad.
horrible.
Again, it was another thing that when I told everyone, "Oh, I'm interning at this, state office," which I'm not going to name, they'd be like, "Oh, wow, that's so cool," and I'd feel like, "Oh, yeah, this is impressive." When I tell people that, but like I actually didn't do anything,
Yeah.
and it was very, I was literally, I felt very invisible,
Right.
literally, and I had to take the horrible CDTA bus every day, and
Shout out
again,
to CDTA.
I had some
Sponsor.
relational things going on at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
and
yeah.
just again purposelessness, and so I guess from this midsummer to November, I just wasn't in a good spot.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you're in a better spot now,
yeah,
at least
definitely.
from your own telling of it. Yeah. So that's mental health, and that's sort of some experiences that we've had. And I think that what I can get from this is that, because my original question is mental health overblown?
Mm-hmm.
I think mental health is important to realize. It's important to figure out what it is and what affects it. Like, what sort of things are going to affect it. Like doing a program that you really don't like is going to affect it, or getting involved in an internship, or moving to a new area with no friends, for just referencing some other examples of people I've known, that's going to affect it. So you have to sort of manage that. But in the sense that we're talking about mental health being overblown, sometimes you run into someone that essentially wears their mental health problems on their sleeve,
Yep.
not as a problem that can be overcome, but as essentially a part of their body.
Right.
So
I've definitely seen that. I've known a few people that was just like, I'm not going to say they didn't want to take care of it, because I'm not here to judge people, but it was just like, like why does this have to be a thing with you all the time? That's really mean, but at the same time, it's just like,
dude,
why?
Yeah. So So
And I think I talked to you about this
Definitely.
earlier. I remember my mom was talking to someone, and she was just like, this person that I was talking to, and they're talking, oh, my anxiety, my depression, my, and she was like, it's almost like it's their kid they have like walking around with them, like they got like this 2-year-old is just like getting into everything and
right.
causing a ruckus, and there goes my depression again, there goes my anxiety, get back here.
Yeah. So, from people that have experienced some mental health issues, but not all mental health issues. We obviously can't speak from experience on everything. So let's talk about maybe some, exceptions to that rule. Some exceptions where we'd be like, okay, that is okay to kind of deal with it like it's your thing. So like, there's sometimes you're born and your brain doesn't work in the same way that everybody else's does, and that's okay, right?
As in, can you?
As in, for
explain that?
example, I think of autism
Okay.
spectrum, which includes
I see what you mean.
Asperger's, right? And I think you and I have probably both known people,
Yeah.
in our daily lives that, have had that sort of thing, right? And I've known a lot of people with autism or on the autism spectrum, and a lot of them are actually great people, and they don't wear their what they were born with or how they were born on their sleeve. They obviously, the ones that are, I think, dealing with it well, they understand. Obviously, I'm different, and there's certain situations where socially I'm not going to, engage the same way that other people are, right? Or maybe they'll say maybe they'll know that, like, oh, okay, for someone that I'm getting to know, they might need to know that, oh, I'm not gonna react in the same way that you do to certain things, right?
Right.
But they don't have to. That doesn't have to sort of define every decision that they make or every sort of person that they meet.
I see what you mean.
You know,
So are you saying they're not as the lack of social awareness is a sort of freedom?
almost, I guess. But yeah, we're just talking about mental health, wearing mental health issues on your sleeve, right?
I see.
Um,
I think this situates nicely with that article that we had up.
Yes. Oh, and also I want to say, because I want to differentiate between mental health and sort of, if you have autism, that's not like a mental health issue, I would say.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I didn't think you
I
were
don't.
saying
Yeah, I just want to make sure that that's
right. It's
clear.
It's not a. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I probably shouldn't even have made that point because that probably just sounded
Well,
like
I think your point is that people like who are autistic or Asperger's,
they're born with something, right?
yes, they are
It's
born with
not
something.
a
It's
mental
not a
health
conditional thing.
Yeah, so mental health, like we're saying, it's that sort of progress
It
bar where
seems
it's
to be
like,
contingent on something.
yeah, you can work with it. It's up or down. That's what I think of as mental health.
Okay.
So let's reference this
I see
article.
what you mean. So this article was about self-absorption and mental health. I just want to read you this quote.
Okay.
People dwell constantly. I can't believe you've done this. How ugly, worthless they are. There is a continual, critical, internal voice tearing the person down, questioning every move, second-guessing every decision. People with severe depression appear totally self-absorbed and self-involved. This incessant, negative internal dialogue fills the sufferer with intense shame. So I have definitely, in my life, come across people suffering from depression or anxiety, and from an outsider's perspective, I scratch my head and I'm just thinking, it seems like all about them. It seems like everything you do or everything someone says is taken as a personal slight. Like I could say, oh, hey, you put you put that dish in the cupboard upside down, and it sends them into a downward spiral, and it's, oh, I'm so bad, and I can't believe I've done this, and
I can't believe you've done
like
this.
I'm worthless, and I don't want to live anymore, and I'm going to kill myself. Of course, that's extreme, and that's never happened actually, but that's an example.
Right.
Naturally.
I get you.
So that's what I have seen or observed.
Yeah. So
okay. It seems like you're just full of it. You know?
Sometimes depression, anxiety, some of these mental health problems can seem like someone is just narcissistic, but narcissism is something else. Narcissism, in my view, is when someone is born or raised as...
It all started when I was born.
It all started when I was born. Raised as someone that, as default, is always thinking that they are, like, the most important person, just obviously. Like, obviously, I'm the most important person and the smartest person. Whereas I think if you're dealing with depression or anxiety, sometimes you can get into these spirals, which you mentioned, where you have these sort of repetitive brain activities where you're like, you know, I didn't do this right or I didn't do that right. And yeah, that's kind of has a biological side to it where, it could be it's your neurons firing weird, right?
Mhm.
But the point is, it can be a temporary thing, right? People
Right.
can recover from it. So, not to say that society should just tell people with depression or anxiety, get over it, because that's
Kind of insensitive.
nobody is arguing that.
No,
But
I would not advocate for
I
someone
think
to
what
say
we're
that.
what we're are advocating for is to say, let's help you get over it
In a healthy manner.
in a healthy manner, and let's not have you focus on it as a symbol, because that's just part of the problem of depression and anxiety, is that you're always thinking about
Exactly.
it.
And this article, this is a Psychology Today article. I'm not just pulling this out of my butt.
Right.
It
Oh.
yeah, surprise. It talks about, it mentions the Buddhist perspective. Oh no, I said Buddhist. It says the Buddhist perspective would say that through you doing that, in the self-depreciation, you are just feeding your ego, and that is what's happening. I'll read you an excerpt of it, if I can actually read this time. Ego all the way, me, my problems, my depression, my past, my. That very self-absorbed, self-centered fascination with my own ego and its agenda is exactly what kept me trapped in the depression for so long. And I think that definitely happens to people. I'm not saying it's the cause of everything,
No, of course not.
but from my observation, I can greatly identify with that. I don't know about you.
I think so. I think that it's important to define mental health and talk about it not as, one of those articles was talking about, let's not define mental health the same as physical health, because, well, they're just dragging a corpse upstairs, away
I
into
don't think the mic picked that up.
to the gutter. That's okay. Anyways, but it's some people say, okay, we got to treat mental health the same as physical health. And I would say, you know what? Sometimes,
I came clean, for lack of a better phrase.
well, I mean, with physical health, you want to get something treated, right? You want to get something cured, and and with physical health, you're not necessarily always you're not bragging about your problem, right? You know? Or at least you shouldn't be.
I think people perceive people with mental health issues as they're bragging about it.
Right.
I don't think that's true.
No. Yeah. But, that's something that we can fall into, and I think that's one of the problems of mental health, is you can get into these spirals. And here's the crux of the issue. My opinion, which I shared with you before, is that I think that someone struggling with mental health issues, with an issue like depression or anxiety or stress or some of these things that they're going through in that period of their life, sometimes sharing about it with your friends, and that can be through social media or just through
Foreshadowing.
of the next episode, I guess so. That can be through social media, or that can just be through, face to face. Sharing about it with your friends can sometimes be kind of popular, and it can sometimes be kind of like accepted. And when you feel accepted, you kind of, it's like a reward. It's like a little, you get a little dopamine, like, oh, look at that. I got accepted for sharing about something that I went through. So the potential danger is that people can fall into the spiral of using that thing that they were struggling with to feel more accepted. And I don't think this always happens. So we're definitely not saying that all mental health sufferers use this as
I'm
a
gonna
badge.
piggyback off of that.
Okay.
And say that during the season of my life earlier in 2019.
Yeah.
When I was on the phone with somebody, and they're like, "What's the deal?" And I
Mm-hmm.
about some of the things I was going through,
Yeah.
and at the end they're like, "Oh, you're just so brave for sharing that," and I said, "No, I'm not brave for admitting to having the same problems as everyone else. That is not my idea of bravery." And again, I was earlier a few months ago, I was having some questions, deep, meaningful life questions, yada yada yada. And
Of course.
I was on the phone with my brother, and he was like, "Well, you're very courageous and brave for addressing these." And I was like, "Dude, I'm not brave for saying the things that everyone else is thinking or struggling with. Please don't tell me I'm brave for that." So I don't get why that should be Kim Kardashian came clean about having depression and stretch marks. Like, oh, she's so brave. What? Literally, I have stretch marks and depression. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You don't see everyone blowing up about social media for me.
Yeah, I think that here's the thing. We've just now started to understand and study, like, actually scientifically, how depression works, how stress works, how anxiety works, how, different mental health issues work. So we're now understanding them, and we're understanding that they can be real things that can affect everybody. And I think we kind of knew it before, but now we're sort of just realizing. And this is just sort of in the academic side since I'd say, maybe the 90s, 80s or 90s, right? So that's great. But here's the thing. I think mental health issues should be normalized, as in people should realize that they are normal, but they shouldn't be specialized. Shouldn't be
Right.
made into special. Like, because if we should normalize them, but that means that it's normal, run of the mill, not like every day, not like saying, oh, it's okay to have depression, but like it's something that a lot of people, most people are at some point going to struggle with. It's just like everyone might, get a cold. Everyone's gonna eventually, your kid's gonna eventually break his arm. Deal with it. I don't know.
Yeah. So it definitely should be normalized, not weaponized.
Not weaponized.
As in, Shem Groby, you can't say that to me because I have depression. You can't say that to a depressed person.
Right.
Or, you just walked past me and raised your eyebrow. Don't that means to me as a depressed person that I'm a X, Y, or a Z. Or you're calling me a monster. Or you're calling me a bag of poop.
Yeah.
And oh look, he said something. He said you have depression. Oh my God, he's attacking me.
Right.
So it goes to that, and I think this is exacerbated by social media.
Ooh.
See what I did there?
Yes.
Hint, hint. This is going to be a 2-part episode. So second part of the episode is going to be more focused on social media. This is more focused on mental health. So I think social media, it makes people think that there's more of them than there actually are. Like flat earthers or vegans. What?
What?
So if you like, okay, I see this thing called Love Don't Judge sometimes. It pops up on the internet or YouTube, Facebook. It's like I'm 25 and I married an 85-year-old and this is normal and blah 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 and it's all, you should support this. And I read that, I'm like, okay, let's just think about this. Logic, reason, and emotion.
Mm-hmm.
You are 25.
Yeah.
A 25-year-old woman, healthy, strong, good looking. You could have literally any, choose any person of your age. And you choose to fall in love with. I'm using that word intentionally. You choose to fall in love with an 85-year-old man. You choose to marry an 85-year-old man. Now let's just think about this.
Let's think about this logically.
This 80
Are you in the majority?
No,
No.
you're not in the majority.
So, should you expect to be treated like you're in the majority?
No. And
No.
why should you get on social media like you think you're hot sugar honey iced tea and say you should support this and you should accept that and this is love and how can you tell me that I don't actually, okay, fine. Okay, you might love that 85-year-old man, but
how can you, the fact that you're loving that 85-year-old man, if that's a real thing, like, I think that's beautiful if you acknowledge that other people are going to not understand that. You know,
Right.
if you're like, I acknowledge that because I'm in a minority type of a thing, and I'm a weird kind of a thing, but it works for me. And you're okay with acknowledging people are gonna like maybe even think that you're a weirdo, but you still like that's I respect that, but I don't respect if you say I'm only gonna do this if other people will look at me the exact same way because that's it's
Right. I
unrealistic.
don't think people are doing it saying I'm going to do this only if it's
No, yeah,
it's I'm doing this and you should you should accept this.
you should
And this is
accept
normal, and how can you tell me I don't love this 85-year-old man who could be my father 3 times over?
exactly
So I look at that and I'm like, oh, well, I'm like, that's gross. And also,
right.
I know some people that might hear this, all 10 of our listeners, and they may be like, oh, you're the judge. You can't judge that. He doesn't actually love him, and blah blah blah, and I say to you, use your brain here for a minute. Why? Just why?
Just why?
Well, why are you coming at me saying, oh, you can't say to that person that that's not weird or they can't do that?
Yeah.
And I say, yes, I can, because I have a brain and I have an opinion. Not that my opinion is, greater or
Yeah.
also superior,
right.
but I don't think it's right. Okay, I'm just going to go out there. I don't think it's right or cool or should be accepted if a 25-year-old decides to marry an 85-year-old. You can legally do that, but I don't think it's right or normal.
That's an opinion. There you go.
So there's
but
my
it's okay.
opinion.
It's okay
Be offended
to
or
express
don't.
that. Yeah, and I had a thought, but I lost it.
So all to circle back to mental health.
Oh yeah, what? How did we get to 85 years? Oh, right.
Right.
Acceptance.
So circling back, social media provides people with a platform to congregate into groups and get on their islands.
That was a whole sort of track because with the 85-year-old thing, that's not like mental health because mental health
Definitely
is
not.
normal.
Definitely
which
not.
everyone's going to deal with it. Not everyone's going to deal with marrying an 85-year-old man.
I really hope not.
So
if I end up marrying or become dangerously close to marrying an 85-year-old man, please take me in the back and shoot me.
the back of what?
The back of your yard.
Okay.
So, circling back.
I think I'll do it in the front yard though.
Okay.
It's for the neighbors to watch.
Sounds good.
All right.
I like to go with a bang.
Cool. It's a date.
So, yeah, and I think that social media gives you platforms to congregate to islands and groups. It's good. That's human camaraderie.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
are bonding.
Right.
But it also, people didn't have social media 30 years ago. So my question, I'm thinking, okay, so 30 years ago, if someone was depressed, did they lay in bed for hours on end scrolling through social media? Because sometimes I sit in bed and I look at my phone and I say, what would I do because there was a time, I'm old enough to remember when I did not have a smartphone and when everyone did not have smartphones.
Yep.
And so I could not lay in bed and scroll through social media.
Yeah.
It was physically impossible unless I brought a computer into my bed, which that would just be a lot of work. So it gives people something to do.
Mhm.
It's a big time killer. And it just kind of lets you avoid your problem, but also express yourself, whether it's your mental health or something else, in the form of humor. And this is going to dive a little into the meme culture.
Okay.
So I see a lot of memes about self-depreciating humor. They're
Right.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I really think they're funny.
Oh yeah.
But it comes to a point when something's not funny if it's true, like it's overtly true. Like, and then people, this is going into another tangent, but people see, say, a meme or a picture, and they say, that's me.
Right.
Or I identify that. And then they take on that behavior.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to, this is again,
Oh no.
this will be dived in more deeply into the next episode.
It will be doved in.
Doved in. We will dive it into that. But I'm not going to say social media causes people to have, downward spirals of mental health, but I'm not going to say it helps.
That can contribute to it, definitely.
Definitely.
We're just about at the 45-minute mark. What say we transition into the next section?
Did you have any closing thoughts?
Let's see here. My closing thoughts would be this. For anyone listening that has struggled with mental health or is struggling with mental health, a good message that I would give is this is something that a lot of people deal with, and you're not alone. And I know you probably hear that a lot, but it actually is true. And I would encourage you to ask somebody else, a friend, family member, if they've experienced something like that, and find out for yourself whether you are alone. That's the only way for you to find out, because everyone can tell you you're not alone, but you might not believe it. I know that's, but if you ask somebody and you find someone else that you know, and you hear their story, you'll be like, oh my gosh. That's the only advice I would give. But for mental health, from our beginning question, is mental health overblown? I'd say in the modern day, we're beginning to understand it. So we're kind of having these birthing pains of understanding what the heck we're doing. And and I'm getting another call from my sister. But I'm going to ignore it for now, since it's probably just about a board game. Anyhow, it's sir. But so we have these growing pains. We're trying to figure out how to talk about mental health, and sometimes we can go a little bit too far.
Exactly.
So
and then social media.
Social media
This
can
keeps the
exacerbate it.
popping up. Yes, social media seems to exacerbate this, and it gives people more support than maybe they need, or it makes people appear larger than they actually are.
Yeah.
So, but that is to be continued, because the next segment of this podcast will be another segment.
All right. Cue opening music. Hold on a second. Oh no! Oh no! All right. This section is awkward stories.
Oh, I thought we were doing a jam sesh.
Oh.
Do you want to do a jam sesh?
How would we do that?
I don't know.
You want to do a cover of Language of the Heart with me playing and you singing?
Do you think I can sing well enough?
Sure.
Okay, we'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Let me just warm up real quick. Yeah! Yeah!
Don't sing fake. Sing real.
Sing real? Okay, I'll try to sing real this time.
No, warm up real.
And everyone in the tentative comments, you can judge me and send me into a downward spiral of depression.
Dude, don't do that.
Let me just
Warm up.
All right, for the first time ever, Vince Tato and Shem Groby tuning. Just kidding. We're gonna do a little cover, little jam sesh. This is a song. Well, yeah.
This is definitely a song.
This is a song, first time ever. Shem Groby, Vince Tato. We're gonna sing a song. This is called "Language of the Heart" by our good friend. Well, a good friend in our hearts, David Wilcox, the Bob Ross of music.
Who has graciously afforded us the rights to all of his music.
I wish.
Oh, did I? Okay, here we go. Ready?
Took off your dress in the moonlight to sleep beneath the sky.
Your touch was a warm summer's ocean. Your kiss made the whole mountain fly. And you looked deep within me and smiled at the tears in my eyes. And you can say that you always were honest, and your words were clear from the start. But it's more than just words that got spoken. There was language of the heart. Thank you for tuning in to this inaugural second episode with the inaugural jam session. I am Vince Tato here with Shem Groby, and I think we're going to call it a night.